Thank you everyone for joining our meetup. And in this meetup, we will be discussing model context protocol integration with cursor and design one API using the cursor AI. Today, our speaker is Naseem. And before we jump in to our meetup, we will start with some safe harbor statement. So, both the speaker and the host are organizing this meetup in individual capacity only, and we are not representing our companies here. And this presentation is for learning purpose only. And both the host and the presenter do not hold any responsibility that this same solution will work in your specific business requirement. And this is not meant for any promotional activities. This is just for a learning series, and everyone can pitch in and add their ideas also. It is not just a one-to-one communication. It is for everyone. Everyone can pitch in and add their points if they feel. And some housekeeping. As I mentioned, the recording is on and it will be uploaded on the event page within 24 hours. And it is an interactive session. So do not wait for topic to end. We can, just ask your question in the chat and anyone can answer it. It is not specific that the presenter or the speaker will answer. Anyone can answer it. And the last point, we will share you an email to share us the feedback. It will help us in learning our mistakes and making this meetup more learning and eventful for the next meetup. Yeah, and for the organizer, so me, Abhishek, and Sham, and Gursimran. So we'll not be individually introducing us. So we can go to the next slide, Nasim. Yeah, Nasim, it's all your.
Thanks, Akib. So, hey everyone, thanks everyone for joining this session. So, today I'll be speaking on MCP, Model Context Protocol. So, first, let me introduce myself. Myself, Naseem Khan. I am having more than 15 years of experience in IT and in MuleSoft specifically. It's almost 7 years of experience. So, I am working in Cognizant for the last 5 years. And before that, I worked for Commercial Bank of Dubai and GSC Swedish company in Dubai. So yeah, and I'm having this MuleSoft certified developer, architect, and platform architect certification. So yeah, so today the agenda is first we'll learn what is MCP. We'll just talk about the definitions and the what is the context for MuleSoft model context protocol, and we'll see how we can transform our MuleSoft API into MCP server, which will be agent ready asset that can be consumed by any agent. So I'll show the integration with Cursor AI, and I'll show how we can design an API specification using just by providing input in natural language in Cursor API. For example, can you just create Salesforce system API for this particular endpoint? So it will create our API specification in the design center. So I'll demonstrate how we can do it, and then we have a question answer session, and in between also you can ask wherever you feel that you need clarification. Yeah, so that was pretty much for more about agenda. So yeah, let's talk about model context protocol. What is MCP? So suppose nowadays, I mean, AI is most talked about, and it's not a future, right? AI is present here, and everyone needs to learn AI. Without AI, it's very difficult to survive in the IT industry, and for every organization as well, it's very necessary to implement this AI specific AI based solutions, right? So this model context protocol, we can say just in simple word that it acts as a bridge between agent and our downstream API. So we can think of MCP like we are using all devices like tab, mobile. So we are charging it with the socket, right? So we can think of MCP like a USB-C port of for AI application. So whatever, I mean, what is the functionality of USB-C port? It provides a standardized way to connect our devices with any accessories, right? So we can think of the same in the same way MCP acts as a bridge between agent and our API. So whether I suppose we have exposed our MuleSoft API, but sometimes we suppose we are using Cursor AI, or sometimes we want to use Cloudy Desktop. So they may have different way of consuming the API. So MCP provides the unified way to connect between agent and the our API. So MuleSoft has created a connector that supports MCP. So that supports, I mean, most of the agent configuration. So today I'll showcase the Cursor AI integration with MuleSoft. So yeah, this is just a the descriptions for the MCP in a very technical way, that it's an open protocol that provides context to LLM. So LLM, we can provide the input, and it will connect to our MuleSoft API, and it identifies which tools or resources it needs to invoke based on the inputs provided. So in MCP, we can suppose we have two endpoints in our API, and we want to expose both endpoints to the agent. So we can create two tools. We can refer tools as a resources, right? So tools and that tools can be identified by the agent based on the inputs provided by the user. And its implementation designed for flexibility, speed of the speeding the solutioning and the scaling, right? And it's a very simple and connector based MCP implementation for API, which also provides. We have a number of connectors. So I'll showcase the MCP tool listener connector. With that, we'll be connecting from with the agent. So that was all about MCP. So this is an architecture. You can see left hand side, you can see the agent, right? It's a cursor, chat gpt, or whatever we want to use, but today I'll showcase with the Cursor AI. You can also try with any other agent, whichever you have exposure of, right? And in the center, yeah, this is for MuleSoft MCP support. So this with the using of this connector, we can create MCP tools and or resources, we can say, that connects to your downstream API, downstream systems, right? So this is the simple architecture we can think of for MuleSoft MCP support. And so the question is, yeah, why MuleSoft MCP support? Why we need to use this MCP? Because we can directly consume our MuleSoft API from the agent, right? But again, the same question. Suppose some organization is using Cursor AI, some organization is using their own created agent. So they have different ways to consume the API. So MuleSoft, with the using of MuleSoft MCP support, it can be unified for whatever, I mean, in the left hand side, whatever agents they want to consume our API, they just need a simple configuration with the using of MCP support, and they are ready to consume our APIs. So it enables agents to discover and invoke our resources through a standardized protocol, right? And mm, with the using of this MCP support, we can eliminate the need of writing custom agent specific codes. So with the third point, yeah, we'll see how we can design API specification with just providing our input of the endpoint and the API name. So it will first check in design center whether that API exists or not. If it doesn't exist, it will ask you for approval that we want to create or not. So if you provide the approval, yeah, it will create the API specification in design center. Yeah. So until here, if you have any question, yeah, please go ahead.
So I have one quick question, Nasim.
Yeah.
How this replicates that MCP server and client structure? So in our diagram, which are the servers and which can be considered as
Client
clients,
client is AI agent. AI agent
which we
is
will call right through cursor
yeah,
API, right?
correct.
Okay,
So it can be chat gpt, it can be cursor AI, or whatever agent we are using, we are consuming our API. So that is the client, and the server is transforming our API, MuleSoft API, into MCP server. So
okay,
that is the server.
okay,
And we can think of number of resources or tools. Suppose we have as I explained, that if we have three endpoints, so sometimes organization doesn't want to expose the post method, right, which can insert the data into your database, or where it creates a record in Salesforce, let's say. So sometimes, I mean, this can be used only for get method to just retrieve the data, and based on the retrieval response, they cursor AI can analyze the data and give you the result based on your input. So suppose we have multiple endpoints, but we want to expose only few endpoints, so that can be considered as tools or resources,
okay.
we can say. Yeah. Anyone else has any question? Okay. So again, yeah, this is the same. We can transform any API into an agent-ready asset with MuleSoft MCP support. And in this one, we have a very smart way of configuring, and it's very it's not no complex setup or manual configuration required. So it works on the underlined HTTP listener configuration, but on top of that, we'll have to configure the MCP server configuration, so that used to connect with the agent. So any API we can expose as a MuleSoft MCP server to be consumed by the client. So yeah, as I explained, that in this one there are two I mean concepts we can say, that MCP servers and clients. As I explained, MCP clients are the AI application which can be used, which can be considered as an agent. So it acts as a client, and it connects our MCP servers to access the downstream data and interact with the exposed tools, whatever endpoints we have exposed. And MCP servers, yeah, these are the interface which we can say that a Mule API. So it exposes functionality that AI needs to consume. Okay. So this is just I created for to understand. I have created tools for design center. So in the tools, we can see that get design center projects. So first, if suppose we input that, can you please create a process API for the policies? So it will first check the API specification, whether it exists in the design center or not. So that will be done by get design center projects, which I have created. I'll show. And first, if it doesn't exist, then it will ask you, it doesn't exist in the design center, so it would you like to create raml. So it will invoke create raml or open API spec tools. So yeah, MCP client server and tools is clear, right?
Yeah, I don't see any
Okay.
question.
Okay, yeah. So this is again, this is the same MCP architecture. So in the center, we can say that it's a MCP server, so which we are exposing our MuleSoft API for agent to be consumed. And the left hand side, you can say a host with MCP clients, right? And in our our MC MuleSoft API can be can use our whether it's database or any remote uh, servers or any Salesforce downstream API. So server, client server, and MCP server and MCP client. So these two things need to be keep in mind, and tools can be considered as a number of resources we are exposing to the agent. Okay. So now I'll just demonstrate how we can do it. So first, yeah. So first, what I'll show, I have created this SAPI employee details. So this is the MCP demo project. Okay. So in this one, I have created 5 tools. 5 tools means I am exposing 5 endpoints, we can say. So 5 tools is being exposed to the agent. So first is retrieve employee by ID. So if I enter our input, can you retrieve employee name for employee ID 2? So you can say retrieve employee name by contact number, retrieve employee name by ID. So whenever I provide employee ID, so it will ask your approval for, okay, this can be invoked. Retrieve employee name by ID. So this will be invoked. If I provide the contact number, can you provide the employee details for the contact number, this. So it will invoke this one. So this is again, this is further invoking this HTTP request, this SAPI employee details, where it is getting the employee details. So this I have created, and I have deployed to our Cloud Hub, SAPI employee details. And one more thing I'll show, this in this SAPI employee details, I have applied a client ID enforcement policy. So how we can send our credentials from the agent, okay, so that it can authenticate whether it's correct or not. Although we have different types of security mechanism for MCP, so but this is in this one I'll show just client ID enforcement, how we can send our client ID credential so that it can be authenticated. So these 2 tools are invoking our downstream API, which is SAPI employee details, where in SAPI employee details I have applied, I'll show you in API manager, a client ID enforcement policy. So in this one, and it is enabled. So if I provide wrong client ID in, secret, so it will show in agent response 401 unauthorized. It is, I think it's signed out. Yeah, you can see here SAPI employee details, and the policies are enabled, this client ID enforcement policy. So the hierarchy is, I am exposing these 2 tools for SAPI employee details, which is being invoked by these two tools. And then in this project, I have created 3 more tools. So first one is get design center projects. So in this one, okay, let me just showcase first these 2 tools. Okay, then we'll talk about this creation of API specification. So in this one, it's very simple. I mean, I have just created this MCP server listener configuration, tool listener configuration, where we need to, you can see this listener configuration. Listener configuration will be the same as our API. And on top of that, I am just connecting this SSC server. So we can use a streamable SSC server as well, but I'm using this SSC server. So this is the path, design center. If you see here, design center, and we need to give the URL of your API. So this API is deployed with this project, Mule Khan MCP demo. Okay. So in this one, what else we need to give? So this is the name. We can give any name that can be identifiable for anyone. I mean, so this one is for, I have given name as retrieve employee name by ID, and this here we can provide the description. And in the parameters, because since this is a get method, so I have just provided the standard. I'm not providing anything is which is required for this input for this tools. And response, I am just getting this response in the context text, so it will respond with this payload, the raw payload, and then based on that cursor AI will filter those information and provide you the response. So this is the MCP listener tool configuration, and this is again this one I have used for just to read the client ID secret and provide as a header that I am using here in the HTTP request configuration. So this is nothing but my SAPI employee details which has been deployed to Cloud Hub. So this is the request configuration, and here and the endpoint is where I am using this employee ID, and for this it is contact number. And in the headers I am passing this client ID secret which has been received from the agent. Okay, here I am just identifying. Okay, and then the response will be propagated. So, and in MCP, so these two tools we understood, right? These two tools. I'll talk about these three tools later. After that, I'll showcase this retrieval. So once our even we can, even when we can use from the local as well, but I have deployed to the Cloud Hub. And for MCP Cursor AI, you need to just install the Cursor AI in your system, and you can go to settings, and in settings if you search for MCP tools, so it will take you to this screen. And here I have created this MCP tools, and the configuration is if you click on edit, or you can add MCP's new servers, right? But I'm not going to add new one. So I have created this, like now MCP, this name can we can give any name, and the URL we can provide this URL. So this URL is I have retrieved from here. So this is the URL for EY, for EY, and the path I have shown you that design center is the path. And client ID secret I am providing as a headers. Client ID this one, client ID secret is this. So this is the configuration. Once you save it and you enable it, so it will connect to your API, and the number of tools which you have exposed, so it will load here. So I have created 5 tools to get design retrieval, employee ID by employee name by ID, and contact number 2, and 3 from designs for design centers. So total 5 tools I have exposed. So let it just get it loaded. So once it is loaded, it will show you the 5 tools are enabled, or 4 tools, the number of tools you have exposed, and it turns into green. And if you let's now if you open the chat window, and we can use control L, so you can see this 5 tools enabled, right? And we can disable here as well. So now you can see 2 tools enabled. So currently I'll just keep it enabled. So can you provide me employee name for employee ID 1? So it should invoke retrieve employee name by ID. It's not invoking employee name by contact number, because we have provided employee name 1, employee ID 1. So it is asking for approval. So this is the data. So you can see the data here. So for employee ID, I have these just hard coded data. 3 employees are there, and employee contact number is again 3. But in this contact number we don't have salary, but by employee ID we have salary. So let's retrieve. mm, Can you retrieve employee details whose salary are greater than 1,000? So see, uh, I have just asked, can you retrieve the employee details whose salary are greater than 1,000? So if you see here, for Naseem Khan it is 1,000, for Umar it's 15,000, and for Huria is 1,500. So it should show two records, right? For this Huria and then Umar. So you can see, so there are two employees with salary greater than 1,000. Salary are this. Both employees are having this whatever this employee details, grade A2 and all. Now I'll check. Can you provide employee details for contact number? So now it is in